What is a woman in white? The White Lady, or Woman in White, is a phenomenon that has been spotted all over the world. A female ghost that is usually spotted in deserted areas that have seen some type of tragedy, suicide, murder, and accidental death. She is seen wearing a long white gown or dress. In medieval legend, she could appear night or day in the home or in photos of someone who is about to die. In some myths, the women murder their own children after the betrayal of their spouse and then commit suicide. She may represent loss, unrequited love, or the betrayal of a man in her life, a lover, a husband, in some cases, even her father. Resurrection Mary. The legend of Resurrection Mary was featured twice on Unsolved Mysteries, once in episode 2 of season 3 in 1990, hosted by Dennis Farina, and once on episode 15 of season 6, hosted by Robert Stack in 1994. Great job, great show. If you've never seen Unsolved Mysteries, you should definitely check it out. Shout out to Robert Stack and Dennis Farina. You guys were awesome. Thank you. Near Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois, many people swear they have seen the ghost of Mary, a young woman who approaches men and asks them for a ride home. Justice is just a few miles outside of Chicago. On Archer Avenue, between Resurrection Cemetery and the Willowbrook Ballroom, there have been many reports of men picking up a hitchhiker, a young woman dressed in a white formal party gown who later disappears. People call her Resurrection Mary. The legend goes that Mary and her boyfriend were at O. Henry Ballroom when they got into an argument. Still angry, Mary stormed out and started walking home in the rain. On Archer Avenue, Mary was struck by a hit-and-run driver and died on the scene. Her parents were devastated. They dressed her in a beautiful white party dress with a matching shawl and shoes for her funeral. The driver was never caught. The first reported sighting of Mary was in 1939 by a fellow named Jerry Paulus. He claimed to have met her at Liberty Grove and Hall. She was a beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed young woman in her early 20s. They danced and kissed. He offered her a ride home. She told him her address. She asked him for a ride down Archer Avenue instead. When they got near Resurrection Cemetery, she told him to stop. She left the car and disappeared into the cemetery, vanishing into thin air. The next day, he went to the address that Mary gave him to check on her. The woman who answered the door informed him that he must be mistaken. Nobody lived there by that name. He looked past her and he saw a picture of the young woman he was looking for hanging on the wall behind her. When he told the woman that he was looking for the girl in the picture, the woman informed him that he was mistaken. He was referring to a picture of her daughter, who had died 5 years earlier. Since then, there have been many reports of people seeing her, over 3 dozen. One was a cab driver who picked her up at a fair at Chet's Melody's Lounge near the cemetery. He returned to the bar inquiring about a young woman who left his cab in front of the cemetery without paying. There have been dozens of drivers in the 70s and 80s who have stricken or almost stricken Mary walking on Archer Avenue. When the driver leaves their car to check, there's no one there. So, who is Resurrection Mary? Many people have researched the burial records of the cemetery trying to answer this very question. Some folks think she's Mary Bregovi, who was struck by a car and died in the Chicago Loop in downtown Chicago in 1939. Some think she is linked to Anna Marija Norkus. Anna died in 1927 in a car accident on her way home from the O. Henry Ballroom. This theory has become the most popular because it seems to fit the myths better. So if you're ever driving down Archer Avenue near the cemetery, slow down. Mary may dart out in front of you or wave you down for a ride, but don't worry about gas. She'll disappear before you get her all the way home. So I hope that you enjoyed that little tale as much as I did. So tonight, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite, and pray that you don't get a visit from the lady in white. See you next time. Bye.